Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Parts Talk. Today we have special guest Chris Ledbetter. Chris takes us through his many adventures within the auto industry and his journey in dealership from a service writer to now an assistant service manager in one of the largest dealership groups in Ontario. Listen to how much mechanics are needed and how much life has to offer if they take this career seriously. Remember to hit the like button, download and share this podcast. You will find the full video of this podcast on my YouTube channel Parts Manager Professional. If you'd like to hear more interviews like this, you can do so by making a donation using the information in the description box. Let's begin. Chris Ledbetter, welcome to Parts Talk.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Of course. I mean, our names are both Chris, so well, I expect great things. So, first of all, please introduce yourself. Let us know all about you. Who is the man?
So my name's Chris Ledbetter, and I have been working in the auto industry for 18 years now, which is scary. After you sent me the questions, and I was out counting back to how long it's been, and it's been 18 years.
18 years, time flies.
It really does. It really does. So I started when I was 18 at a Saturn Saab Isuzu dealer.
Okay.
So my dad and my uncle both worked at the dealership.
Okay, you have to explain what that is, remember, a lot of the younger generation don't know about certain cars. You get what I'm saying? So Saturn was here, but not anymore. A few is still on the road, but if you mention the name, they'll say Saturn who? Where is that? Is it a planet or something? So
So it was Saturn Saab. It was a 3-brand dealership.
Right.
Saab, like a Swedish. I think it's Swedish. A vehicle, and then Isuzu, the old Isuzu Troopers, and
yes, big horns,
So I started out as a detailer there, kind of as a summer job, and then after a couple of years, I went into parts. So I was a parts advisor there for a year and a bit, and then transferred into the service advisor position there, which I was there right up until, so it was about 3.5 years. I was doing that there. And then I actually left there, and I went and I wanted to pursue a career in the bank. So I was at the Scotia Bank for 3 years. And then, had some crazy events happen there involving robberies. And decided that I didn't want to do that anymore. So I left there and went to a Kia dealership. I was a service advisor there for over 3 years. And then ventured on to a Nissan dealer for a year and a half. And then took a position at my current employment place. At a Toyota dealership, and I've been there for just shy of 7 years now, and I'm in a management position now at the in the service at that dealership. So
okay, well, congrats.
Quite a run. It's,
There is always upward mobility in the auto industry, believe it or not. Once you put your mind and your dedication and the passion, right? And because it's a fast-paced industry, that is why it shocked you to realize that 18 years has passed.
Oh yeah, I was literally in shock. I was driving home tonight from work, and I was like, 18 years? Are you kidding me? Like, I'm one of the old guys now.
Of course.
Yeah.
But over that 18 years, how has operations changed since you started in the industry?
Oh man, it has changed quite a bit. And it's weird because a lot of areas it's changed tenfold, and in other areas it's still the same. Mm-hmm. But when I first started, especially as a service advisor, it's crazy to say, but it was almost less customer focused. For example, if a customer called in to book an appointment, you told them when the appointment was going to be.
Right.
They didn't request an appointment and I want to come in at this time, at this day, and this and that. But it was almost like the dealerships had a little bit more control, which was it was different. It's different. I don't know if it was better. I think things are probably better now. We're definitely more customer focused now. And I mean, the whole service industry, in all types, has changed quite dramatically.
Yes.
Especially with the younger generation coming up, and it's definitely you have to be much more customer focused, or you're going to fail.
Yes, definitely. The focus shift within the last 10 years, especially after the 2008 crash, right? A lot of companies, especially the auto industries, started to go towards building customer relationships.
Yeah.
So they formulate this new era in terms of going after not only individuals but also fleet companies and larger organizations in order to win contracts.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah. And then they introduced CSI.
Yes.
Right. They get the surveys. You didn't have those back in the day, right?
Exactly.
Well,
exactly. Yeah.
They were coming to the dealership and telling you, face to face or over the phone. Whereas now a survey gets sent to every customer, and if somebody's got something to say, they're going to say it on there. So
exactly, and of course you have the Google reviews always running. Yeah,
exactly. It's just that much easier for people to voice their opinions, good or bad. And one of the biggest struggles right now is getting the people who have good things to say to actually say them.
To say it, yeah. I'm guilty of that. Sometimes I take my car to servicing, and right after the survey comes out, and I ignore it to tell you the truth, because I'm old school. I would rather look at you and say, Chris, I really enjoyed the time I came there, and a job well done, thank you. But I mean, it means a lot when you put it in writing. I understand.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, and it's the people who have something negative to say, if you give an opportunity, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
So it's a struggle within all dealerships, to get the voice of the good and the people, and there's that's the vast majority of them. If you're doing good service, you just got to be able to get those people to tell everybody.
Yeah, definitely. But taking us through your journey, what were some of the challenges that you faced while you were going through, learning the ins and outs of being a service advisor?
Well, yeah, it's when you start out detailing, you go to parts, you kind of get the retail counter experience of dealing with customers face to face for the first time. And then it's that whole learning the interaction with the customer. And to be honest, I was never really a car guy. So when I went into parts, I didn't really know the first thing about cars. So you got to learn the cars and all that. And the biggest challenge you face is building up the confidence to speak to customers confidently.
Yeah.
If you sound like you don't know what you're talking about, the customer is not going to receive it well.
And here's a trade secret: the best place to start in a dealership is in parts.
Yes, for sure. I agree.
Yeah, a lot of people look down on the parts department, but I'm telling you, I'm a very, very big advocate for the parts department. Hence, the name parts manager. But I mean, all my knowledge about cars actually came from parts, because you're dealing with everything, and after a while, the part numbers, what works for which engine, then what is interchangeable, and what can work for other models down the line. Yeah.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. And in the parts department, you're dealing with all the other departments.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You're dealing with sales, or come back there for accessories and everything, and tires, and then obviously you're dealing with service, and then you're dealing with the customers face to face as well.
Yes.
So
yes.
Yeah, it's very true. The parts is generally overlooked, and it shouldn't be. It definitely shouldn't be.
Yeah. Like I said, I've been a very big advocate, because people, they don't take the time to understand exactly what takes place within the parts department. It's a whole university inside there, right? Because you're dealing with numbers, you're dealing with logistics, you're dealing with operations, then you have to deal with demographic, then you have to deal with different customer types, right? And then the different model vehicles. And like you said, you interact with every single department within the company because you're the custodian of the inventory.
Exactly.
And the inventory is basically everything. Even, my goodness, even furniture is stored inside the parts department sometimes.
All sorts of different things.
Also,
in the parts department.
Yeah, definitely. But based on your vast experiences over the years, what would be some of your suggestions to dealerships?
Well, the biggest thing obviously is, you have to be customer focused, and the most important thing to people, and a lot of people would say, is their money, but that's not the right answer. The right answer is their time.
Yeah.
And after every customer you write up, the very first question is, how long will it take, or when will my car be done? Because time is the most important thing to them, especially nowadays. Everybody is so busy. They always got, things going on. They got appointments. They got this, got to pick up the kids, got to do that, got to do this, or they're coming in on their lunch, dropping the car off. They got to get back to work. So the most important thing is time. So, going forward, especially, you need to find ways to meet your promised times, to get the car ready in the time that you tell them it's going to take. And while doing that and saying that, you need to, the jobs that you're doing, you need to be able to do them quicker than we have in the past.
Yes.
People don't like waiting. And especially with COVID, a lot of places like us, we're not shuttling right now. So people are waiting in the dealership, and you need to get them out of there as quick as possible, but do a great job.
I laugh because right when COVID just hit, and the government was trying to find ways of limiting the spread, and companies, especially dealerships, had to find other ways of means how to keep their staff safe and the customer safe as well, right? So you would go to the dealership, drop your car off, and then you have to wait outside. You have to wait outside. So hopefully we can look back at this a couple of years from now and just laugh at the whole matter, right?
Yeah. Well, we had to completely revamp our process, and customer drop off, waiting, everything. We had to completely redo it. And you know what? It's, as bad as the thing as COVID was, it is, if dealerships take the information that they got from the changes that they had to make for COVID, you can make a lot of improvements. I know we did. We've made some changes for COVID that even after COVID is in the clear, that we're going to maintain them, because it just works really well. So in the bad situation, you got to take the learnings from it and then apply that going forward, because it's we've made some great changes, and the feedback from our customers have been awesome. And we're gonna continue forward with those.
Yeah, well, what you guys are actually doing is the Toyota way. It's called Kaizen, continually improving your process as you go along, and then whatever works, you utilize that. Whatever doesn't work, then you throw it out. It's waste. The moody Mura, something like that. It's been a while. We eliminate waste. But how going forward now, COVID has taught us a lot, right? And my heart goes out to those who have lost a loved one during this time. Many persons have died, of course, but facing the auto industry now, how should we prepare for ever-changing market? COVID has taught us a very valuable lesson right now, but the market is constantly changing. I remember, 18 years ago, cars had distributor, points and condensers, carburetors. Then we moved to injector tips, electronic fuel injection system. No, we're running around with no electric cars, right? it was a push towards hybrid, and then electric cars have overtaken,
Yeah.
right, based on what is going on now. So I do expect like the operations from the dealership environment to actually change, because you have so many new brands now coming into the market and changing the way how people do business, right? So from your experience now, what would be a suggestion in terms of us prepare for a market that is constantly changing?
Well, I mean, especially now with the way vehicles are going, they're going to be, if by, in 10 years, 12 years, we might be fully electronic cars, and you're going to have to find other ways of generating profits in that for the dealerships, because a lot of the maintenance that we currently do now, we're not going to be doing on vehicles in 10, 12, 15 years. It's for Toyota example, every vehicle is going to have a hybrid version within the next 3 years.
Yeah.
So the 2022 Tundra is coming out, and it's hybrid. Yeah. And the Sienna hybrid, all of them, they're all hybrid now. And that's just going to continue to move on. It's just going to be electronic now.
To be fair, we're actually way behind, because Toyota themselves had that like 10 years ago. Japan. Yeah, in Japan. When I visited, every single vehicle had a hybrid component. Even the trucks. Wow. I remember Hino trucks had hybrid. Toyota Coasters were hybrid down there. Yeah. So they kept all the good things for themselves. That's what I realized.
Yeah. Let them run with it for 10 years, and then
exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, so you're going to have to figure out different ways of generating income for the dealership, and it's with everything going to be electronic. One of my biggest concerns is electronic diagnosis on vehicles, because with the technicians now, it seems that that's their weakest point. You get a lot of guys who write the exam 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and what they're failing is the electronics, side of it. So strengthening your diagnostics and electronic within your tech team is got to be the most important thing going forward as far as the shop goes. And then you're going to have to, depending on where vehicles go, you're going to have to kind of change the experience for the customer as well.
Yeah. I know. But in order to change the experience for the customer, you have to start with the internal customer, which is the staff. And you just mentioned it, right? The challenge is there, understanding exactly what is going on when you're doing a onboard diagnostic from a computerized standpoint. I remember a couple years ago when guys, and I say, well, I mean, guys, the mechanics are mostly a male-dominated occupation, right?
Yep.
But they will come in either fresh out of high school or, starting from somewhere where they just wanted to learn a trade. But in certain regions, and I can't swear for North America because I never grew up here, but I can tell you elsewhere, the challenge was reading, writing, mental ability, and comprehension. Okay. Those were the challenges. They were good at fixing, but when the theoretical part start coming in to diagnose and all this, that's where they all failed. So now we're seeing a shift. Everyone is computer literate, but at the same time, no, they don't know how to read the diagnostic itself, because I think the scientists that are designing these cars, the engineers, they're too intelligent. They need to break it down from a layman standpoint, how those blueprints, so to speak. I'm just using that offhand, right? Yeah. Because when an electrical diagram is printed out, and then they have to trace the A1 go to B2 and B3 go to C1 and all these things. I mean, it's mind-boggling. How do you expect the little guy who is writing an exam to become a technician to understand all that?
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah, it's difficult. It's definitely not easy, and and the manufacturers are going to have to, all the manufacturers have their own training programs for their technicians, and the manufacturers are going to have in class training for the technicians on these, to breed them kind of to be able to diagnose these vehicles in the future.
Yeah.
And that, going back to one of the earlier questions, that's probably as far as the shop goes, that is the biggest change that I've seen over my 18 years is, when I first started, technicians actually diagnosed vehicles and fixed them. Whereas now, it's more replacing parts.
Mm-hmm.
It's, computer says this, you got that code. We need to replace the alternator. We need to do this. We need to do that. Whereas, back then, technicians actually looked at the vehicles, diagnosed them with their hands and their eyes. And like you said, now it's hook up the computer. Computer tells me this. Okay, do that. Order the part. Away we go.
Yeah.
So that's one of the biggest changes for sure. But
Yeah.
And you know what? It's one of the challenges facing dealerships going forward is finding people, like finding good technicians.
Yes. I was gonna come to that, because that's of all the interviews I've done so far, that is the biggest cry. We can't get the younger generation to come in and take up the trade. So right now, being a mechanic is a dying trade. I mean, look around you. Cars are everywhere. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yep.
So maybe what I'm going to do is, probably start a petition or start lobbying for the authorities there to find a way to lure people, lure the younger generation into this trade, because without mechanics, I mean, the world is going to start moving.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's, I tell you, like we've been looking for technicians for a while, and man, it's few and far between. It's so difficult. That's why it's so important. You get younger guys in as apprentices, and you have to grow from within. That's the best way to do it, because it's very hard to find people, good technicians from outside and bring them in. It's the best way to do it is to get an apprentice in there, groom them, grow them, and then you to grow from within is by far the best way to go. And it's even that it's difficult, because a lot of this younger generation, you don't have all the applications that you used to have back in the day. If you needed an apprentice back in the day, you could have one tomorrow. There's people itching to get in, and it's not that way anymore.
Yeah. That is the biggest cry, of course. So it is a challenge, and it's right across the board.
It is,
right? Yeah. And mechanics, they don't realize that fixing cars is just one component.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They can go on and start fixing boats, trucks, yachts, ships, trains, aircraft. It is so much of a right across the board. There are so many different components of engines out there, that they can actually make a living, right? Because there's far and few mechanics right now who are boat engineers, the guys who actually repair, and everyone wants to own a boat right now.
Exactly,
yeah. But you can't find guys to service them.
Yeah.
So I mean,
damn good time to be one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then you have all these skyscrapers, buildings going up, and then mechanics can actually repair elevator service. That's another thing they can branch off into. So they're not looking at the bigger picture, as a matter of fact. So maybe
I actually I had a technician when I was at Saturn who got out of the trade and went as an elevator technician, and he's been doing that ever since. He's still doing it to this day.
Yeah,
I keep in touch with him every now and then, and he's earned a great living.
Exactly. Because they're far and few.
Yep.
And so many, like I said, so many condominiums, apartments going up all over the world right now. So I mean, I've known guys who had to fly from one province to the other to go repair elevators. So I mean, it's being a mechanic is just a starting point.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. But Now, another question before you go, because I know you're pressed for time. What would be some of your recommendations to dealerships right now, based on what you've seen so far? If you were in charge, what would you do? So I'm gonna try to put you on the spot with this one.
My biggest thing right now would be find a way to change your processes, and figure out how you can do vehicles quicker, get people in and out for their regular servicing quicker than we do right now. And you have to be forward thinking. With the changes that are coming in the industry, there's going to be some dealerships that probably don't survive. Mm-hmm. And the dealerships that are the most forward thinking are going to be the ones that thrive in this change that's happening in the next 10, 12, 15 years. And it's especially with the way the customer service industry is going, like I said before, customer focused. And that's the biggest thing. People will pay you if you can do things quicker for them. We've had instances at our place where, because of some of the things that we're working on, where, people generally, the first question that they ask is how long will it take, not how much is it going to cost. And, if you can tell them, we're going to do this, and this, but we'll have you out of here in an hour tops. I promise you it'll be out of here in an hour. You have your keys in your hand in 1 hour. Okay, go ahead. It's, and I honestly think that it's only going to get worse. People's time is only going to become more valuable to them. Things are going to become busier and busier and busier. And that would be the biggest thing for me, because if you can get people out of there quick, or get them out of there for exactly when you say, we've all had that experience where you bring in your vehicle at a dealership and, they tell you it's going to be an hour, and 2.5 hours later, your car's not ready yet. So that would be my biggest thing going forward, is figuring out a way to save customers time and get them out with a great service at a great price.
Yeah, definitely. So apart from the Saturn and Saab and now Toyota, is what is your preference? I know you've been with Toyota for quite a while, but looking back at all the other processes, who would you say has been doing well so far?
Toyota by far.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, the Toyota way and Kaizen and continuous improvement. And the group that I'm currently with right now are definitely on the forward thinking train compared to a lot of other places. I think a lot of the other manufacturers in particular still have a very old school way of doing things. I know that right now because I drive a Dodge Ram, and it has been in the shop 7 times in the last 6 weeks for the same issue. Mm-hmm. And I just I had to get it towed there today actually. And the GM of the dealership told me that I may have to wait 2 weeks because their engine guy is on vacation.
Wow.
So, that's a very old school way of doing business, where you got your engine guy, your training guy, your, electrical guy. So places like that going forward, I think are going to struggle. So it's just, you got to be forward thinking, realize what's coming, and prepare for it, because the changes are happening whether we like it or not. All the manufacturers have said they're going to have electronic vehicles, fully electric vehicles by, this date, and it probably end up happening sooner rather than later. So
yeah, you're absolutely right. But I blame you for the car for your truck breaking down. Get a Tundra. Problem solved.
You know what?
Get a Toyota Tundra. Problem solved.
I have.
That
I
yeah, you that thing
100%.
that thing will give you a million miles and more, and
Yes,
absolutely no issues. You know that.
I know. I know. I know. And trust me, as
You're a
soon as
service advisor. How many Tundras you see coming through your shop?
they're not a lot.
Exactly. They only come for brakes. That is it.
That's it. Yeah,
That's
regular
it.
maintenance.
That is it. Brakes,
Yeah.
oil change. That is it.
Yeah.
No computer issues, no key start problem, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Yeah.
No, that's very true. And I've already got my order in for the 2022 when it's released in the fall. So
exactly. There you go.
I'm getting out of Dodge, as they say.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
It's been a headache, and I tell you, it wasn't a cheap truck, and you expect so much more. And it's kind of funny this is happening to me because I'm so used to being on the other side of the desk, and it's happened to me, and it's the service that I received from this dealership has just been terrible. Right from the service manager to the advisor to the GM. And to be honest, like from Chrysler Canada, because I've contacted them because it's been such a big issue, and it's just the differences from Toyota especially it's insane, absolutely insane to me. So
that's why some are way ahead and some are far behind. So now you know what not to do.
Exactly.
No, you know not what to do. It is what it is. And it's the nature of the beast is what we deal with.
Sure.
And that is why I encourage persons to get out and do benchmarking. Look at those dealerships that are doing extremely well, because another trade secret I'm going to let out here: when you're in a particular position, right, you get the reports to tell you which dealership across a particular geographical area that you're situated in is doing the best. That's what it is. So there's no shame in getting off your ass. Go there, sit down with whoever in charge to facilitate you and say, look, I want to see how you're doing this. I'm here to learn. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm more than happy. I assure you that they'll be more than happy to assist you to say, okay, this is what we've done and this is what works. But not everyone has that type of foresight to try to encourage best practices inside their own dealership, right? So it's just an ego trip. And
it is. And it's constantly, instead of helping each other in this industry has always been like dealership versus dealership, and nobody wants to help the other guy. You know what I mean? Instead of everybody helping each other and making the industry better, it's always just a big competition.
I see that mostly with North America though, because in different regions it's not like that.
Oh really?
It's not like that, because what they have is they have regular conferences and workshops. Workshops is different from conferences. Conferences, everyone comes together and they sit down and they hear what the manufacturer has to offer. Right? At workshops is when you have a group of service managers come together, and they sit down and they explain the issues that they're having. And then the ones that are doing extremely well, they will do a PowerPoint presentation and say, okay, these are the problems we were having. This is what we do to solve the problem. And the other guys will actually take notes and understand, and they sit down and they exchange numbers and information, and they will always reach out to each other, right? And then you have different workshops. You have for parts guys as well. Parts managers will go on their workshops. You have workshops at IT. Well, they sit at their computer and they use TeamView and all these things, right? So it goes right. It depends on the region, like I said. So while you're here, it is a competition. And to add one final thing, why the competition is also so unique is that you have larger companies. Like you're working for a dealership group, right? But you have other groups out there. They just go around and they buy up all the little guys,
And they're just expanding and expanding. So you believe it or not, where we are, you probably only have 4 or 5 dealership groups that owns every single dealerships right across Ontario.
Yeah, and they just keep buying more. They just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah. So so what they're doing is eliminating the competition. You get what I'm saying? Yep. So it is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But Chris, I want to thank you for taking the time out. Really, really appreciated it. And explaining exactly your process, what you've been doing so far. But would you go back? Would you leave the dealership and go into another industry? Because you have done that before in terms of going into the bank. But where are you now in terms of, I know where you are now, you're basically comfortable, but because you're in a fast-paced industry, you get to see different people, you get different experiences every single day you go in. It is something new. But would you give it up?
Not willingly. Not right now anyway. Who knows 5-10 years down the road. But I love it. I love the fast pace. Especially as an advisor, when I going in, and every day is different, as much as it is the same, but every day is different.
Every day is different. Yeah.
There's new challenges every day. And I loved it, and it's, the interaction with people, the face-to-face. I love that stuff. And, I could never do, work for a company or do a job where, it's just kind of sitting at a desk and, punching away at a computer or something like that. But I love the dealership life. I love the day-to-day, and as I've progressed in my career, and now into a management position, it's rewarding to go through all those years, speak to all those customers, and, to kind of be moving up, and I want to continue that step and, go on to the next one. So, no, I absolutely love it. It has grown me as a person, both, professionally, and in my personal life, just as, it is, I've grown up at the
well, 18 years, of course.
Yeah. It's, even in this 7 that I've or just shy of 7 that I've been at my current place, like I've changed, I've matured a whole bunch, and I've grew. And, this, a lot of that is the company that I work for and my experiences, and, just being put in tough positions and getting through them, learning. It's a great place to do that. It's a great place to grow yourself. And it makes you tougher, and it gives you, confidence. When I first started talking to customers 18 years ago, and then talking to customers now, I'm completely different, and you get yelled at a whole bunch of times, and then, all of a sudden you get worked up at first, when you're first doing it, customers yelling at you, they're in your face, and, you get worked up too. But now it's just, completely calm now. And you learn how to talk to people.
Of course. What
to say, and it's it's great.
Yeah, if you work in the dealership environment, you can work anywhere.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. A quick joke. I remember, just like you, because it makes you mentally tough. And I remember a customer came in, and he was yelling, and he was on top of his voice, and everyone was afraid. And I stood there, and he was just yelling. And I just looked at him, and he said, "Why are you just standing there staring? Why don't you say something?" And I said, I'm going to say something, but I'm really concerned. When was the last time you had your blood pressure checked? Right? And he's like, everything about him just dropped.
Yeah.
And it just dropped. And then it occurred to me. And then he said, you're right. I really need to get my pressure checked. So sometimes, like they say, that soft answer turn it away, rat.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's just tricks and trades in the business, man. But the environment gives you that opportunity to, just to be sarcastic and funny at the same time.
That's right. Yeah, it could totally change the conversation.
Exactly. But Chris, thank you, man. I really appreciated you taking the time out. No, it's probably past your bedtime, but well, I want to. Yeah,
it was a pleasure to be over here.
Of course. If you have anything additional to tell us, you want to share, please hit me up and just let me know.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely will.
Okay. All right. Thank you, man.
All right, man. Take care.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe so you're notified when a new episode is posted. Remember to rate and review this podcast and share it with your friends. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope you're leaving with a better understanding of the individuals who work in the auto industry. Until next time.